Hi there, folks. Randy Bloom, WRK-TV on the prowl again. Today I'm going to play you some audio that backs up exactly what I've been telling you and go on telling you the truth. This is a lecture given to some media students over there in London, England at the prestigious Goldsmiths College. The speaker is Maynard Foxx, the guy who just bought the second biggest mainstream news organization in America. Remember that? The second biggest news organization in the USA. So, listen up. Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please. You're very kind. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd just like to start by telling you this. I own your thoughts. Each and every one of you. I look around and what I see pleases me. Uniformity. With the occasional smattering of what some of you think passes for individuality, but it's not individuality. It's just a release valve. And guess what? We created that very release valve. Your rebellion is not your own. You see, we don't dictate any one thing. That would be silly and pointless. What we do is control the rebellion as well as the status quo. Why do you think Che Guevara became a cultural icon? Because bastards like me realized they could so easily divert the anger of the masses with iconography. You want revolution? Put a poster on your wall and wear a revolutionary T-shirt. Mass-produced, of course, you understand. One does have to turn a profit after all. You laugh, but it's true. Your thoughts are owned. When it was decided that your parents, or, God forbid, grandparents, had outlived their damp squib revolution, we hit them with unfettered and celebratory consumerism. You know, I sat in your charming university corporate franchised cafe earlier and just observed and listened. You talked passionately about your new shoes, your trainers, your things. You caressed your status symbol cell phones on your gadgets. And guess what? I heard not one mention of politics, let alone revolution, not from any of you. You, who will leave this university saddled with debt. You, who will begin your adult lives effectively as property of the state. And that's okay. It was enough to gladden my stony heart, I can tell you. But it's true. You are owned. And the funny thing is, you don't care. I mean, it was engineered that way, that you wouldn't care. But we did actually think you'd put up more of a fight. I guess we never realized how good our advisors really were. But this goes back over decades, really. Slow drip, drip, drips. We made your parents actually believe that their thoughts were their own, while we subtly steered them all the time. But you don't really care one way or the other, do you? You dose everything with a helping of detached irony. But your every thought, your every deed is mannered, learnt from the TV and the internet. Let me illustrate. If I were tomorrow to handpick some of my most visible celebrities and send them out to be photographed by the mass media with kettles strapped to their heads, within a few days you'd start to see some of the much-admired trendsetters amongst you begin to promenade doing exactly the same. At least one of you would be, this time next week, sat in your franchised university coffee shop, feigning casualness, with a kettle strapped to your head. I hear laughter again, but it's true. Now, here's a little test. It requires honesty. One person, just one, raise your hand and tell me one thought, one single thought that you've had recently that you could describe as original. Go along. Hands up. You see, you're laughing because you're nervous. You don't like silence. That was by design too. We wanted a generation afraid of silence, suspicious of contemplation. We succeeded there too. Still waiting on the original thought thing? No? No takers? Of course not. Thank you for your honesty. You see, your greatest ambition is to be valued by your peers. To that end, you've denied your own thoughts and desires, buried your suspicions. When I say I own your thoughts, it's because I do. And you love me so much for it, you invite me here, you treat me like a visiting guru, and hang off my every word. Hang off my every word. It's just a satisfying confirmation for me that the great work pioneered by the likes of Edward Bernays has borne such sweet fruit. I merely carry the torch. I didn't light it. I just ensure its flame keeps burning on my watch. Now, on to sex. Many of you, no doubt, though conservative in thought, are very liberal in deed, especially when it comes to sex. Some of you here tonight will experiment with some form of sexual kink or perversion. You'll think yourself something of a libertine in your actions, not ever suspecting that those very kinks and perversions have been carefully placed by the mass media to trigger the very reaction that you'll have. You are robot libertines, unwittingly taking your cues from programs you cannot comprehend. I reiterate, I own you. If I own your behaviors, it's because I own your thoughts. And if I own your thoughts, I own your soul, your speech patterns, your dress codes, your rebellion, your ideological beliefs, as meagre as they are, your political correctness. And now, think where the term political correctness came from. It was a form of political thought control from Marxist Russia and Maoist China. Tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of people were killed for merely not adhering to this form of mass mind control. Our techniques these days are more covert. We realized the hive mind, if cultivated properly, could be self-regulating, and so we set up a system of subtle indoctrination. You are the products of that. As a result, none of you here today are capable of original or individual thought. You are, therefore, perfect for the world you are so determined to enter. The world of media and of programming, both televisual and mental programming. Having been weaned on self-regulating culture, you are the most perfect people to judge future output. And if you do happen to put a step wrong, to forget your cultural conditioning, your peers and companions here will be the first to tell you, to criticize you. And if you persist, they will ostracize you. The system is so finely balanced that it's almost never necessary for us, the controllers, television and mind controllers, to step in. You are all now self-regulating entities. You are both jailer and prisoner. The programming is now more subtle, but always ongoing, a slow drip, drip into the consciousness, just to keep you topped up. Of course, in times of crisis, unpopular overseas wars, economic ruin by the financial elite, etc., then the programming is ramped up. The media whips up the most susceptible in society, who in turn will turn on those who question the state. Words like unpatriotic and appeaser. Even terrorists are bandied about. And we, the controllers, sit back, fold our arms, and smile, knowing full well that we control the mob. We turn the right keys, press the right buttons, set up the best distractions, and let you people do the rest. You know, there's a story from ancient Rome. You know Rome? The place where they wore sandals and Russell Crowe was a gladiator. Now, what worries me is that many of you can't even remember Russell Crowe. Actually, it doesn't worry me. It's just how we like it. Anyway, back in Rome, a wise senator came up with an idea. Hey, why don't we get all the slaves in Rome to wear a white armband? That way we could recognize all the slaves among us. A still wiser senator took him to one side and whispered in his ear, if we did that, we'd look around and see how many of them there are, and how few of us there are. Consequently, of course, the idea was scrapped. It was a crap idea. But the same principle applies today. Never let the powers that be know how many like-minded souls there are among them. There are millions, and be in no doubt, the establishment fear them. They fear the ones who can't be put to sleep. That's why they work overtime, to keep the majority mired in ignorance and distracted by triviality. And that's why they come to me. I provide the cakes and circuses, but also the fear. Via television news, we create a feeling of helplessness within the individual. This leaves them either defeated or desperate for distraction. Either way, we win. This is what I mean when I say, I own you. Those among you still capable of cognizant thought may be wondering, if he says there are millions who can't be put to sleep, how does he know that I'm not one of them? I'll tell you how I know. You're third-year media students. So, if your lecturers and conveners have done their jobs properly, and I've no reason to doubt they have, that's over 2 years of more or less prolonged indoctrination. I am virtually certain that after undergoing that level of indoctrination, following on from the mandatory indoctrination of your various schools, and of course the ongoing bombardment of media indoctrination, you can't help but be incapable of individual thought. Again, we like that. Having said what I wanted to say, I'm wondering if I managed to ruffle anyone's feathers here today. So, how about a quick straw poll? A show of hands, please. Following what I've told you, how many here today still would like, after graduating, as I'm sure you all will, you've paid good money for it after all, how many among you would still like to find employment within the mass media, despite all my goading? Show of hands, please. Yes. Well now, virtually unanimous. Thank you. I suppose the ones who didn't raise their hands are doing their not part of the herd thing. But we all know they're just the kettle on the head brigade. Thank you, everyone. You've greatly reassured me here today. If you have any questions, please direct them to someone else. And thank you. Thank you very, very much. And good luck to you all. So, there you have it, folks, straight from the horse's mouth. They own you, they control you, and they are so confident in their hold over you, they actually brag to your face about it. And guess what? It seems you love them for it. Did you hear that applause? It's Stockholm Syndrome, folks, pure and simple. They put you to sleep, and now they successfully control your dreams. So I'm asking you today, when are you gonna wake the hell up?